Streaming is on.
Hello. You there? Hello. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. You're not saying anything.
How about now?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I guess I said the intro wrong at the beginning of the recording. But basically, this is the second session for the open office hours for the Technical Steering Committee. And yeah, okay. So thanks for joining. Do you have anything, or would you like
Well,
to
obviously,
do?
I missed the first one. I don't know what was said. I don't know if it was noted anywhere, but yeah, I guess everyone said what they needed to say in the first one, so I don't have any concerns. Did anyone raise any concerns last time?
Not really. I mean, mostly we have a series of binary decisions, I would say, right? So, for example, we narrowed it down to a few choices, and the question now is, for example, do we want 5 people or 7 people on the committee, right?
Yeah.
And quite a few of these. So I can. Have you seen the documents?
I can't remember.
No worries. So I'm gonna share them right now. You'll have to let me know if it's actually working. How do I share? Oh, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna share a window, and the window that I'm gonna share is this one. You should be able to see a Chrome window with 2 tabs open.
I can see a Chrome. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so just FYI, I don't see you anymore because I'm on my laptop. So this here, I don't remember. Were you in the first one? Have we gone through this with you?
No.
Okay. Would you like to go through it with me?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what I'm here. That's why I'm here. So basically, in this document here, we have the 3 documents that would be created and put in the main repo. They outline the steering committee, the technical committee, and how their elections would go, basically. So, bless you. These are mostly taken from Kubernetes and from Istio, right? For things that are not obvious or would require some kind of consensus or a choice, whatever, or are really kind of a hot topic, we have an X in here, right? So the steering committee has X seats, right? And in the second document, can you see the second again?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see me switching the tabs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So for these, you have questions here essentially. So, well, the first one here is kind of should we have it in general, right? But for example, quickly, you can basically start saying basically this here, which is how many seats should the steering committee have, and this is exactly an answer to this X here.
Yeah.
So this is how it works. So we can go through the steering one first. I'm gonna try to make that a little bit bigger for you. So this basically here defines the steering committee. The mission of the steering committee is that it's responsible for the non-technical side of Flatcar, non-technical being a keyword here. It handles governance, committee structure, project resources, and long-term direction. The steering committee exists to serve the project and committee. It does not replace the maintainers council, which remains the main governing body of the project. So how it works, the committee can adapt its own rule and structure as the project needs change. Anything not explicitly delegated to another group stays with the steering committee. Technical decisions are delegated to the technical committee and the relevant maintainer subgroups. day-to-day running of the project stays with the maintainer council and subgroups. So this is important,
So
right?
what do we mean by maintainer council?
Us maintainers.
Right. And that's different from a technical committee, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So the whole idea is that both the steering committee and the technical committee are responsible for the huge stuff, the overarching project-wide decisions, right,
Yeah.
that impact things. So we're going to get to that in a second. But for example, imagine that we need to make a decision which sponsor we are going to pick, right,
Right.
for our infrastructure, let's say, right? So these committees would be in that process, right? So the first one would be, the steering committee would be, for example, responsible for talking to the CNCF, the sponsors, right, etc. And the technical committee would actually make the decision of which one we're going to pick.
Okay.
The steering committee sets direction and policy. It does not micromanage the project, right? This also applies for the technical committee, right?
Yeah.
This is your guys' main feedback. In particular, the following should continue to happen through the normal maintainer and subgroup process. Subgroup will mean like maintainer Nebraska, maintainer, infra, all these subgroups, right? Which we're going to develop further in some time. So, for example, the steering committee does not touch creating, renaming, archiving, transferring repositories, granting, adjusting normal project access, running CI, automation bots, tooling, running releases, triaging issues, reviewing pull requests, and basically the day-to-day stays with us, right? The steering committee should only step in when a matter is project-wide, non-technical, and explicitly escalated to it, right? I think this was part that Tilo added, which was very important. So the escalations are used to resolve misalignments and are always agreed on by involved parties. So let's say you have an idea on how to do something, right? Well, non-technical in this case, and someone else has an idea on how to do something. You cannot
Yeah.
agree. You escalate to the committee.
Okay.
And what's important is that both parties have to agree on that. So you cannot say, oh, he is like, he's like stupid, and I don't like his idea, like,
Yeah.
and all parties must have, blah blah blah. Basically, that's what it says, kind of. Although, if there was like a serious code of conduct issue, they could get involved in that. But this is for negotiating. So the responsibilities. The steering committee is responsible for setting and defending the non-technical vision, mission, and values of the project, right? So imagine someone comes along and, guys, I have an excellent idea. Let's make Flatcar closed source, right? It's not an excellent idea, but like, this is where they would step in, right? Sometimes this can be very unassuming, I would say. Defining and evolving the project's governance structure, right? So for example, we can come up with some new subgroups, right? They would approve them. Creating and approving charters for project-wide groups such as committees, working groups, and subgroups. Acting as the final escalation point for non-technical disputes in the project, like the escalation point. Managing the project's relationship with CNCF and other outside bodies. Advising on trademark, branding, advocacy, and other non-technical project matters. Holding and delegating authority over project-wide assets such as GitHub, organization ownership, websites, domains, mailing lists, social media accounts, and similar resources. So, basically, they've like you will not need to, like somehow weirdly connect your MFA to them, right? But like they will be the ones that at the end have the owner privileges. I guess we can think of it about that. Defining what it means for a project group to be in good standing and enforcing these expectations. And yeah, any questions so far?
It's for the seats. It's one per organization. Is that right?
That's also up for discussion.
Okay, I think we might struggle to fill 7.
Yes.
I don't know if that was discussed, but
yeah.
And what would happen if we didn't fill them all?
So this was the main talking point last time, really. The initial idea that was suggested is that right now, what we could do is basically have a free-for-all, kind of, right? And with that, we are sure to have someone on that committee first, and later we can basically change the rules to create restrictions based on like companies and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, so just because everyone wants to have some kind of restriction, right? So the whole council is not like the committee is not like Microsoft only, right? Or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
But like you said, it would be kind of a struggle to just find people first, because later when that council actually functions, right, it's much easier to gain people.
Yeah.
Because like, oh, well, there's this council, they've been doing this and that. I want that as well. And yeah, so basically, right, idea right now is to like kind of have it less defined now, and later the council itself can regulate it more.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next most important thing is working with the technical committee, right? So the technical committee sets the direction, architecture, and cross-cutting engineering directions. These are handled by them. The steering committee does not overrule technical decisions. Whenever there has both technical and non-technical aspects, the steering committee and technical committee are expected to work together, right? So like with the infra example, right? Maybe, for example, one sponsor would be better and their cloud would be better for our infra. However, maybe the steering committee notices that, we might actually lose these guys in a year, right? Like it would make sense right now, but for example, the strategy of the human stuff, right, is volatile, and maybe it's actually better to pick something quote unquote worse, but we can manage to keep them, for example, right?
Right.
This is kind of a made up example, but I hope it kind of illustrates the point. And here's where we kind of have the first axis, right? So the size. What is the size? We've been oscillating between 5 and 7.
Yeah.
I can go ahead and vote here. Personally, not really sure. Yeah, the next one is seat types, right? So do we have these types of seats like contributor, community, and other categories? We did talk about, for example, ranked voting. So, someone would be X, like basically that would kind of, if there were, yeah, but yeah, anyway, this is really up for debate. So if you have any opinions, or you just post them here, you can basically just add a comment to
Yeah.
this whole question here, and or +1 whatever comment is here.
I think we should look at similar sized projects. Like Kubernetes is a lot bigger. The Gentoo has similar things. I can't remember how many people just got voted in on the Gentoo council. I didn't make it, by the way. I was joint last.
I'm sorry. Next time.
Yeah, that's the second time now. Yeah.
Well, 3 times the charm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we can continue, right?
Yeah.
So the next one is exact number type of seats is X. Eligibility, right? So who can actually become part of the steering committee? So is it someone who is a contributor, someone who's a maintainer, someone who is visible, or do we in fact want a minority of people that are just users, right? And because of that, we can just be sure that we will have their perspective as just users.
How do we track it? If it's very open, how can we track it in a credible way that it's not open to abuse, right?
You mean someone? What do you mean?
Well, depending on how we collect the votes, like
the committee itself, right?
yeah.
Yeah. That's also a question, right?
Like in Gentoo's case, voting for the council, can only be done by official maintainers. So not merely a contributor, but someone who actually, has an @gentoo.org address and everything. And you vote by SSHing into our shared developer server, and we have a special program that fires up your chosen editor. It's just a text file, and you just rank the people you want in order, or you can just put them all on one line if you don't care which one. And it's all done very, smartly. It works pretty well, but I'm not sure that would really work for us. But
yeah, I have a feeling that we would most likely start with some kind of more individual focused filtering first, right? Like making sure that person is actually a contributor or a maintainer or a user, because we do want users, right?
yeah,
Yeah, this is really also up for debate. So if you have an idea on how to solve that, like you can go ahead and comment that, or just the sentiment you just expressed. So the next part is the terms, right? Oh, and of course, who can even vote, right? This is just maintainers or contributors, right? So the next part is terms, right? So I think we are kind of in between. So 1 year and 2 years. Personally, I think that it would make sense for us to have that kind of a more open community first, and make that one a year long.
yeah,
And then, for example, the second one and all the other ones can have 2 years.
yeah,
That is at least my idea. Because, that way we have that kind of a kickoff, right? It just kickstarts itself. We do have people in the committee. It can start functioning, and then later we can have people joining something that is really created and working.
yeah. That makes sense.
So next one is members that can serve, how many consecutive terms, right? Stuff like that. Yes, basically.
Yeah,
And honestly, so far in this kind of category, I've heard every kind of feedback, honestly. So yeah, it's really for discussion. So do voice yours in that document there. And like, are the terms being staggered or not? Stuff like that. Do you have any opinions on that?
that's the thing. I don't really have any strong opinions. I just know, like, as I keep saying, what Gentoo's been doing, and it seems to work for them. But I know it's quite different. So I can link you. All this is like documented publicly for them. I can link you to some of that if it's helpful.
If you could, absolutely.
Yeah,
Because like we're still
yeah,
mainly like gathering our like inspiration from other projects as well, right?
yeah. I think it's good to just like go with something established and then see if it fits and tweak it from there.
Yeah, I genuinely think that something in between a cloud native project and a distro would work, right?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what we are, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so next is company representation. So I have a feeling, right, that so far the feeling is that at first we shouldn't have any, maybe like a big cap of like, not more than 50% Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
And then we can just shrink it down,
That
like maybe
seems
one
fair.
or two people, right, per company. Because also, like you said, it's going to be hard filling out these positions, filling them in, because
Yeah. I mean, I imagine Robin's on board,
yes,
Adrian's on board,
yeah,
and ourselves. But beyond that, I don't know if, say, Jeremy or Kai would be on board.
yeah, exactly. And also there is the question of the technical committee, right? Which
Yeah.
also needs to be filled. So we
Can you
might
be
end
on
up.
both? That's an important
That's a
question.
good question, right?
Yeah.
I have a
In fact,
feeling that no,
yeah,
honestly.
there's been a lot of controversy in Gentoo with that, saying, "Oh, it's all the same people on all the
Yeah.
councils," right?
Yeah, I can imagine. So that's why I think no, really. Because I can imagine someone like, for example, Matthew, right, being absolutely perfect for the technical committee because he has been with the project for so long,
Yeah,
right? And someone else like Lexi could be on the steering one,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So yeah, but at the same time, like someone like Adrian, right? Adrian has been with the project for God knows how long, and he also could be on the steering one, right?
yeah.
So this is a difficult question. I guess one thing we could do is make these small at first, then expand them in the future.
Hmm.
Vacancies, oh, that's kind of just formalities, to be honest. Um, Removal, like, what it takes to be removed. Emeritus, so for example, if you were in that committee uh, and you leave that committee, does it automatically grant you an emeritus maintainer status? Which means you did not have to be a maintainer to get it, but then if you start maintaining the project, you kind of automatically become a maintainer. Does it make sense? It's confusing it. So I did not know about this. Tilo told me about it. So imagine you're just a user, right? You join the committee just as a user for 2 years, and you've been with it for 2 years. Then you leave the committee. Then you could be automatically assigned an emeritus status as a maintainer, which means that you're one contribution away of becoming a maintainer. Because that kind of serving as a uh, committee member counts as you contributing to the project.
Right, right, right.
Kind of new for me. I guess some
I'm
projects
just
do
not
it
sure
that
what
way.
it means in practice, but
Well, that would mean that, imagine you're a user, right? You join the committee as a user. You're on that committee for 2 years. You leave, right? However, because you get granted that emeritus status, it means that if you just do one contribution, right, it's as if you were an old maintainer coming back, and you are granted that maintainership automatically.
right. So
Which is
I mean, when we say maintainership, we mean like an actual
yes,
recognized,
yes, yes,
yeah, as opposed to just an everyday contributor, right?
yes.
Okay.
Which is supposed to showcase the appreciation for your work that you have done on the committee, right?
Yeah.
Because it recognizes that work as work in maintaining the project.
Okay.
Voting. So, how many percentages you need to pass something, right? And also, this is kind of something that plays with the number of seats. I think we're kind of set on an odd number, right? Because
Yeah.
then that
Yeah.
forces a decision. So yeah. Meetings. So when do they meet? How often? Right?
Yeah.
With whom? I think we have the idea that they should meet with the technical committee. Sorry, with the technical committee, even if there's no immediate reason for it. Maybe once a month, or maybe once every 2 months,
Yeah.
right? Just to synchronize and stuff. And of course, changes to this charter, right? Blah, blah, blah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and this was the definition of the steering committee. Now I'm gonna go now immediately to the technical one. Do you have any questions so far,
No,
other than the ones you
that's
faced?
okay.
Okay. So the technical one is really identical. Like literally, the
Yeah.
actual document is identical, except of course, kind of this here, which is the relationship, and also what they do and do not do. Right. So, for example, this is something that you voiced and others have voiced. So, the mission of the technical committee is responsible for technical health, architecture, and overall engineering direction of Flatcar. It provides technical leadership, helps resolve disputes that span multiple repositories or subgroups, and maintain technical standards across the project. So, for example, like the standardization of PRs and branching that we did, right? Because this is something that impacts the whole project.
Right.
This would be ultimately, approved by that committee. But also, for example, let's say that we need to decide. Let's say that there's something new that we could replace the verity with, right? Some new thing, right?
Okay.
Someone came up with something, right? It's the hot new thing. Would we replace the verity with that thing, right? This is where the committee would step in. Right?
Yeah, it seems hard to draw where to draw the line, but
Yeah, it's because, like, for example, I could imagine that, for example, I'm doing some infrastructure work right now, and I decided to use Flux, right? Or I decided to use OpenBow for our secrets. I do not think that this would be a decision that the committee would be making. This would be a subgroup decision, right?
right.
So here are the responsibilities. And yeah, this is kind of important. So these are decisions that affect the whole project rather than a single repository or subgroup, right? So setting and defending the technical direction and architecture of the project, right? For example, someone wants to totally replace Nebraska with something else. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, like, because I'm looking at UKI's system deboot, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. You could.
I guess it's the kind of stuff that users would care about.
Yes. Yeah. And, so for example, you would be working normally, right? It's just that, imagine you have a PR ready to, like, I don't know, let's say you want to replace the whole of system D in Flatcar with, like, OpenRC, right? I think it's called, right? Like, theoretically, right? This would be where that kind of a decision lands,
Yeah.
right? I'm not saying that because it's likely, it's just an example, right? So owning and maintaining the process of for technical proposals, design reviews, and architectural decisions, or similar project-wide technical processes. Defining project-wide technical standards and conventions. So, for example, everywhere we do merge commits, right? It is kind of a micro decision, I would say, on a project level. But because we decided to do that everywhere, that's kind of what makes it project-wide, right? Resolving technical disputes or escalations that cannot be resolved within a single subgroup, right? So this is similar to the escalations from the steering committee. Yeah. Imagine you want to implement something X way, and some other maintainer wants to implement it the Y way, right? And you cannot agree. That's where you escalate.
Yeah, I could imagine potentially some stalemate where it's like they want someone to do it a certain way, but the person best placed to do it doesn't want to do it, and then it doesn't get done or something. I don't know.
Mm. Yeah, that's where they're supposed to come in, right? And next we have and advising the steering committee on the technical implications of non-technical decisions, right? I guess the infra one is pretty good because, like, it's very, like, I would say, non-technical at first, right? And then it becomes very technical.
Yeah.
So what the technical committee does not do, right? So they did not do ordinary review and merge decisions, creating, renaming, archiving, transferring repositories, setting up CI bots, tooling, normal engineering automation. But that, by the way, includes the administrative work, like, for example, the safe settings repository. Okay. They would not be doing that, right? Routine package additions, bug fixes, refactors, and ordinary technical work that already has an established owner process. So I guess, for example, with the website refactor that we did, right?
Yeah.
They could, in general, like, maybe just at the point where we had that analysis done, right? And we were ready to restructure the whole organization of our documentation on the website, that's maybe when they would say, okay, yeah, go for it. However, the rest would be just us, right?
I think with Gentoo, it's also slightly fuzzy in how it's defined, but I think what tends to happen is developers or maintainers know if they're proposing something that might be controversial or everyone might not agree
Mhm.
with. So they'll raise it to the council, because that way, if it gets signed off there, they can point to that and say, well, it's been agreed here, so sorry
Yeah.
if you don't agree with it. But
Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. The reality is that teamwork and communication is hard in projects like that, right? We're not all in one place
yeah,
working 9 to 5, right? It's a lot of async communication, agreeing on, voting, proposing, waiting, responding, non-responding, right? So these bodies are supposed to help us.
yeah.
So if they're getting in the way, that means something needs to change. Yeah. Oh, and the relationship to other bodies, right? So the maintainer council, the technical committee operates within the authority delegated by the maintainer council and the project's governance, right? So us, the maintainers, right?
Hmm.
For both the steering and technical committee, if we say, so it's not working out, let's get rid of these, right? We can do it.
Okay.
Or change something, right? Maintainer subgroups continue to work on their own areas. The technical committee coordinates across them and resolves cross-area technical decisions. Steering committee handles non-technical governance. The technical committee handles technical governance when a matter has both technical and non-technical aspects. The two committees should work together. Right, and just to
Okay.
confirm, it's the same here. Oh, I guess I should mention how the steering committee works with the maintainer council, or do we have it somewhere else? Let's see. Well, I guess I should add that clarification, right? Okay. Uh, yeah, and the rest of the questions is exactly the same for the
Yeah.
technical committee, like it is for the uh, steering committee. And that kind of brings us to the second, however, third, because we haven't seen it yet, document, which is the elections, right? And I
Okay.
guess this would be the same for the technical committee, kind of. So this is kind of the more descriptive section that we had here about like the elections and who is eligible. So how many total seats, right? How like who can vote, all that stuff. Uh, this here is also redefined, although I guess with more granularity. Yeah, and that's kind of it when it comes to these documents. In here, you have quite a few uh, questions and opinions. I see that Lexi, I think yesterday, added quite a few based on some conversations. Uh, yeah. So, for example, right now, if you have these links to Gentoo's governance
Yeah.
documentation, that would be great to actually post here as a comment.
Okay. I'll do that.
And it does not have to be like an opinion of like, let's do X, right?
Yeah.
It can be, well, I can see this and this is how they do it, and these are
Yeah.
the implications of each, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
It could be you do not have like the side here, because I think at the end what we're going to do is basically compile all of this feedback that we have gathered so far and compile it into a single document, like a single full proposal that we think is kind of what the um, let's say like the you know uh, like communal maintainer consciousness produced, right? Let's go like that. So, and then, people can still like, oh, I had not actually like this part, right? Or let's change this part here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as far as we gathered, the first iteration of the string committee and the technical committee would be very bare bones, right?
Yeah.
Which is like just have something kind of right, and once like basically like kickstarting a car, right, or
Yeah.
a machine of some sort, then you can tune it.
And the final discussions on Thursday, yeah?
Yes, yes, yeah. So this is where we hope to basically have interviewed all of you by that point. And after that, I'm gonna come up with a document I'm gonna send around. Like, this is what I compiled so far from your guys' feedback.
Yeah.
Like, anything else? No? Okay. And then I'm posting it on the official maintainer's email to vote on.
Cool. Well, thank you for doing all this. It's quite tedious. Well, I think so.
It is, honestly. It is. But, in a certain way, you can think of it that if you do this one, you will not have to do it again. Right?
Yeah.
Because like that community is going to take care of it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the whole point. Because like, normal governance stuff is for an average maintainer a instruction from the work that they're doing, right? And that's kind of one we have. Why when I have this. However, at the same time, you want everyone to chime in, because then it's gonna be like, well, I actually don't like this, and like you had 2 weeks to tell us that, right? And I spent like tens of hours waiting for your opinion. If you did not show up, then I even found a Latin phrase to call that, which I posted. Like, qui tacet consentire videtur, right? Which is, I guess, like, if you did not voice your opinion, then you agreed, right? Like, I think the more smooth sentence in English would be.
Well, that's how I ended up with the pension provider I don't like. So.
Really? Yeah, silence means consent, right? Which is ironically the same thing I remember seeing on some domestic violence billboards. But yeah. Yeah, and also, from the community standpoint, like, we are very actively like lighting up a flare, like from the perspective of outsiders, saying that like, we are doing some changes in this project, right? Like, if you want to chime in, join us, right? This is all public and recorded, right?
Or at the very least, it looks good.
Yeah, no, I mean, we had a few people join. I think we had Yusuf and also someone else I don't remember. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, lazy consensus, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'll get those links over onto the post.
Thank you. If you want to stay here, you're very welcome to. I'm gonna stay here for the next 2 hours. So.
I'm gonna have to go in a while anyway.
No, absolutely. Just FYI, this is all being streamed, right?
Yeah. So no, I got that. I had the lovely lady tell me.
Right. True. That's good.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Cool. Thank you very much. See you.